Welcome back to the part 3 video of operation and working of an MCB. If you haven't watched the part 1 and 2, please do watch them before watching this video. And the links to the part 1 and 2 videos are in the description box, so check out the description box. In today's video, let us discuss on few important questions like why a bimetallic strip is used as an overload protection and why not an electromagnet can be used in an overload protection, why an electromagnet is used only for short circuit protection, why not an bimetallic strip can be used in a short circuit protection. These are few important questions which might be asked in your interview. Before starting this video, in my previous part 1 and part 2 videos, I have explained you working and operation of an MCB, and in that videos I have told you this is an electromagnet and this is a bimetal. Okay, this bimetal gives protection against overload and this electromagnet gives protection against short circuit. Let's go with our first question. Our first question is why a bimetallic strip is used in an overload protection. Bimetallic strip basically works on the principle of thermal trip mechanism. So from this word you can understand that it works on thermal, it means it works on heat. And this bimetallic strip is not an instantaneous protection device, but it is an inverse time protection device. Inverse time means, I'll try to draw a graph and explain you. This is your current and this axis is your time. Okay, and your inverse time graphs look something like this. See, assume these are increasing current values. If your current is high, your current is at this point, then your operation time is very low, and if your current is low, your operation time is very high. So here current is inversely proportional to time. As the current value increases, your operational time will decrease. Okay, your bimetallic strip is an inverse time operational device. In an overload condition, your current value slowly increases with increase in your load. So it does not require an instantaneous strip device, as the current increases slowly but not instantaneously. So you don't require an instantaneous strip, so you don't require an electromagnetic trip device, but your bimetallic strip acts as a very good overload protection device. Now let's come to the second question, which is why not an electromagnet used in an overload condition. As I have explained you in the previous question, electromagnet is an instantaneous strip device, but overload condition is not instantaneous condition. That is, overload happens gradually but not instantaneously. So you does not require any instantaneous strip. If you keep an instantaneous strip device, let's see what will happen to your circuit. To make you understand in a better way, let's consider an example. Your example is you have a load as your motor and the rating of your motor is around 5 amps. Let me draw the circuit. You have a source, and your source, you have connected an instantaneous strip device. From the instantaneous strip device, you have connected a motor, that is your load. A load can be anything. For better understanding, I'm taking just a motor, and your motor is drawing 5 amps of current. So your source is sending 5 amps of current through this instantaneous strip device, that is your electromagnetic trip device. And in this condition, if your motor starts taking 7 amps of current, this device should be tripped. So you have selected a device such that its coil rating is 7 amps. That is, if more than 7 amps flows through this device, or if 7 amps flow through this device, this electromagnetic device should trip. Okay, so till the time your motor is taking 5 amps or 6 amps current, nothing will happen. As soon as your motor touches 7 amps of current, this instantaneous strip device will get activated and your circuit is open circuited and your motor is safe from the load. Okay, till this point it's very clear, simple, and your electromagnetic trip device is serving the purpose. This method works very well, but there is a catch. Now assume we have connected another load in parallel to your motor. That is, assume you have connected another motor which is also taking a 5 amps. As soon as you switch on this motor, your electromagnetic trip device will get activated and it will trip your circuit. So you can't even on another load while using an instantaneous trip device. That is, in this case, For every load, you need a separate protection device, which is not possible. For each and every load, you must have a separate protection device because they are instantaneous. And because these devices are instantaneous strip devices, you have another big problem also that I'll be explaining you with the help of other example. Now assume the second load is not your motor, but you have connected a tube light and the coil rating of your electromagnetic trip device is 10 amps. Now what happens when you switch on your tube light in the beginning takes high amount of inrush currents. So these inrush currents are for milliseconds, but because it's an instantaneous trip device, even these are for milliseconds, your electromagnetic trip device gets activated and your circuit is open circuited and your loads are safe. You can't even on a tube light if you're using an instantaneous trip device for overload protection. I hope you are clear with this concept. If you have not understood this, please go through this concept one more time so that you can understand it. Now let's move on to our third question, which is why an electromagnet is used for short circuit protection. As I've told you before, electromagnet is an instantaneous trip device, and in your short circuit condition, the current rating is more than 1000 amps. So as the current rating is very high, if you are not using an instantaneous trip device, you can't save your load from this 1000 amps or more than 1000 amps of current, which can damage your load. So to save your load, you need an instantaneous trip device, and the best instantaneous trip device is your electromagnetic device. Now let's move to your last question, that is why not a bimetallic strip used for short circuit protection? In a short circuit condition, the current rating is more than 1000 amps. As it's a huge current, bimetallic strip is not an instantaneous trip device, but it is an thermal trip device, or it's an inverse time trip device. So in bimetallic strip condition, if you're connecting your load with the source, this gets short circuited, then your 1000 amps must first flow through this bimetallic strip, and your bimetallic strip should get heated up. Because I square R losses increases, this get heated up, then it will disconnect your load from your source. So this process takes some seconds to milliseconds of time, which is very dangerous to our load because the current is very high. When this much huge current is flown even for milliseconds of time through your load gets damaged. So you have to use an instantaneous strip device for a short circuit protection. You can't use a bimetal because it's not an instantaneous strip device. That's all for today's video. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe my channel. This is Sandeep Shaktri signing off.